my mom was in Costco recently, and Costco has Lego sets now, and she was showing me because they have the advent calendar and all that sort of stuff, and it was a really good price. So she put on FaceTime to show me what she had, and there's a kid at the end of the Lego aisle, and I guess he sees my mom's phone screen. Mom, that's a Lego YouTuber. And I'm sitting there on the FaceTime, and I was like, "You want to say hi?" And he's like, "Hi," and I'm like, "Hi." That was the most unique experience I've had.
That's how you know you've made it. I mean, my God, that's crazy. Like showing up. Hello, everyone, and welcome to TFOL Talk, the podcast where we shine a light on awesome teen fans in the Lego community doing amazing things, and maybe the occasional AFOL too. I'm Doodlebricks, aka Kavi, and today we're going to be hanging out with Logan, otherwise known as RepublicStuds. How are you doing, man?
I am fantastic. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing well as well. Thank you.
Good.
So
That's great.
I'd say let's just hop into the first question, which is who is RepublicStuds and what do you do in the Lego world?
All right. So RepublicStuds, I've grown up in New Jersey, lived here my whole life, and I have always loved Lego. I think my first set I got was when I got like the Duplo sets growing up even, so I don't even know what my first set was technically. My first like official Lego set was one of those like Buzz Lightyear ones. Anyway, I've been a big Lego fan, and around when I was like 9-ish, for whatever reason I was allowed to have an Instagram, and it was called I don't know, I would never do that, but I was allowed to have an Instagram, and it was called like Puppet Master L. The account's actually still up there, and I just posted whatever. There was a thing like Lego Hunger Games back then. It was a really kind of incredible scene where people like you'd have like everyone would make their minifigures and they'd all fight each other, and it was fun. So I was doing that. I've been involved in the Lego community now that I think about it for like roughly at least like 8-9 years, which is rare for someone my age, but it's really fun. And I was doing that, and then I kind of around 2019 or 2018, I was like less on that. I was more on like the just general Star Wars train, but I still did Lego all the time. Never really had like a dark age, which is what it's called a lot, where I guess that's where you would stop building Lego for like a certain portion of time. I don't think I've had that yet.
Wow.
But I guess it was when I was like 0 to 3 or whatever.
Right? Before you even knew about Lego in the first place, that was your dark age.
Yes, that was my dark age. It's like you see some of those 2000 like 4 or 5 sets. It's like, oh, nope, that's the kid couldn't have those. Right. Anyway, yeah. So anyway, around 2018, I think December 28th, 2018, the day after my birthday, I decided I was gonna upload my first video on my channel. I had run an Instagram account that was like a dedicated fan page. My buddy Daily Tactics, he had this series called Rico's Brigade. You all may know him as Daily Bricks on YouTube. He had this series. He had a gaming channel and a series called Rico's Brigade, and it was like a dedicated fan channel. I loved that series, and my channel was named Commander Rico. And I did videos on that, and I uploaded my first video, which had nothing to do with any of that. It was my cousin stepping on a Jar Jar Binks thing. It got like 500 views initially, and I was like, "Whoa! I get 500 views? That's crazy!" And then I like uploaded, I think, like a couple screen recorded things. They were not very good videos. And then I did my first Lego video, which was the Lego Daily Squad, which is like my friend Daily Bricks. That was his squad, and I made his Clone Trooper squad. I made them in Lego. And then there was a lot of content like that. I had a series called The School, and it was like story, like this characters that go around and like I would like use like puppeteer them, and they'd like maneuver their hands. It was stupid. And it wasn't serious. That was 2018, 2019-ish. And then COVID happened, and this is where I really say, like, when I'm on most podcasts, I will start to tell people how I really started in around 2020 when COVID happened. And I was like, great, I have 2 weeks off. I really started to take it more seriously. I was doing a stop motion series. It's called Rico of Lego Star Wars Story. I did the first one. It was not a good stop motion. I did it with my friend Lucas and a couple other people. And that came out. It was very nice. I think Daly was actually in that one. And then I was working on the second one. Oh, we have 2 weeks off. I could finish this. Great. I was able to knock it out. And I started doing videos in the lead up to it. I was like, oh, I can make videos now, and I could like show the process and everything. And I eventually started doing like just general clone related videos, and they did very well. And then I did a
Right.
bunch of those. I started doing live streaming. I think at this point I had like 4,000 subscribers. And then the stop motion came out, and at that time it got like 20,000 views, which was like huge for me. That was like a big, gigantic number. And
Hell yeah.
yeah, that was great. And I was like, okay, great. Now we're gonna. And then I was like, okay, I was gonna do part 3. That never happened because I was getting so focused on doing regular videos. And I did like a clone base video and building. It was very clone centric, which is why
Yeah.
around that time I decided I was gonna do a rename of my channel. Because of a couple circumstances that I won't get into. But I ended up renaming my channel, and I was like, I want to be able to encompass, that I do Lego and that I also do like clone Star Wars, that type of thing. And I want to be able to do that all while not being one of the generic bricks or solid bricks or productions or it's not that there's anything wrong with that. I wanted it to be
Yeah.
something unique that you haven't heard necessarily before. And this was before generic stud. Or
Okay.
before so I hadn't heard of him at least. I think he had like 2,000 followers at the time, or on
Right.
subscribers at the time, and I had more than that at the time. So I didn't know that he existed. I found out like 3 months later. So one of my
Shoot,
friends
this guy has my thing too.
who was actually my first sponsor, uh, Bricks by Bricks YT was his username, and like we had such a cool deal. We made a custom like clone figure. I haven't talked about this in a
Oh.
long time, but we did like a custom figure, and we made like 25 of them, and I sold out of a bunch of them, and he like paid me $2 per commission, and that was how I was really able to get a lot of the seed money to start making videos and buying more clones and stuff like that. And it was all going really well. I was really having a good time, and COVID happened. I'm doing bank. School is like a joke during COVID years, so I was working on videos all the time, and I was uploading daily. And I uploaded daily for, other than like a couple days, for almost 3 years, or 2 years.
Oh.
I uploaded daily for almost all of 2020 after that, and 2021 and 2020. Towards the last 4 months of 2022, I didn't upload daily, but before that, I was uploading daily, which was I don't know. I still don't know how I
Yeah.
fully did.
That's insane. How do you upload daily? Like that's crazy.
Um, it was the content wasn't the best, so it wasn't like super hard. I mean, I was editing on my phone and everything. I was up until I had about like 13, 14. I think it was like 13, 14, maybe even 15,000 subscribers. I was operating everything completely off of my smartphone.
Wow.
Um, everything. It was. I don't know how I did that. I was filming the videos. I was editing them on my phone. I was doing everything. And then I finally decided, okay, I probably need a computer now, and I've been editing on a computer since then. And it was like I pressed record, I'd film, and it wasn't as hyper edited because even 2020 YouTube's a very different landscape than 2023 YouTube. So
Oh yeah.
anyway, after that, it's interesting. So you could look back, and I was not as religious as I was back then, as I have become in the last year and a half, which is why I wear this in a lot of my more recent videos in the last like year and a half. It's a more new development, something that I've taken on in my life. Um,
Okay.
so like you look back and
For
you're gonna
anybody
be
who
like,
doesn't know, what is it that you're wearing? Since we don't
oh,
have video.
I'm wearing a kippa. That's what we wear to signify our faith in God and then know that He is above us. So I
Right.
wear that pretty much all the time.
Cool. I see. And you're Jewish, right?
Yes.
Okay. Cool. So you started off doing more like Lego clones and that kind of content. And what kind of content do you do now more?
All right. Yeah. So I really had a breaking point, and it was around August, like the summer of last year. I was doing podcasts, and I had interviews with all these people, and they were doing really well on YouTube. And I was doing the math with myself, and I think all the best people in business, they know when to make shifts. And because this YouTube technically is a business, it's a creative business which we're dealing with, and I'm like, this is a great thing. I love what I'm doing. But there are a couple things that I was dissatisfied with. One of the things I was dissatisfied with is all my content is not long lasting. You cannot go back and watch any old news videos. Nobody goes and watches old news. It's just a fact. And that was a lot of what I was doing. I was very well known for the news. I broke the ATTE rumor. I broke the Razor Crest rumor.
Whoa.
Like Commander Cody and all that sort of stuff. I had one of the first Republic fire tanks. It was very niche Star Wars stuff. I was doing first reviews for a couple sets, I think. And just a lot of stuff like that. And I was like, this is a great area, but this type of, I guess, industry has a ceiling and it has a floor. So it has a very high floor in terms of the people I could get, because there's a very large amount of people who are very interested in that stuff. But by the time it gets like, it's going to be the slower growth because it's more niche, and it's going to be less appeal overall. You look at some very niche Star Wars channels, and I'm just going to say my name. You look at M&R David. They've been hovering around the 500,000 mark for a really long time. So, and not that there's anything wrong with that. It's a good number. I wanted to see if I'd be able to make this into a viable career, and I wanted to actually see how far it could grow. And the videos that I saw that were doing well were more interesting videos, and beyond that, this was what I liked most about them. They were long-lasting content that I could watch at any point, and they don't date themselves, essentially, which is what I like most about it. You can watch any of my videos that I put out in the last 6 months. You do not need, there is no new old information or new information that you need to watch them. You just watch them for what they are, and that's why people will still to this day be watching a bunch of my videos I put out 6 months ago, and they still do very well. So, and that's the main reason I made the change, and it's been fantastic. I have a ton of fun doing it, and it's been really one of the great joys of my young life.
Man, I'm glad to hear that. That's fantastic. And I completely get what you mean about, the wanting to kind of abandon doing news videos, because, I mean, there's definitely a market for that, like you said, but it does, it kind of traps you in one place, and you can't really go any further with that, because, like, if you're going to do news stuff, like, there's nothing wrong with doing that, but I feel like you kind of have to dedicate your channel to being news things, like Talk Bricks or something. His channel is solely news. Something like that works, but if you want to do news and other things, I do think it can kind of bog down your channel if you don't do it right, because, once again, news videos, they get dated, and then no one's going to watch them. Whereas just general entertainment content, it's evergreen content, as people say.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I have a lot of good friends who have been in the news space for a while. Brick Clicker. I know I've known him for the last couple of years. He like straight up leaks, or not leaks. He reveals a ton of news, and even he still, is like relegated to about like staying in this kind of like quasi. He can't break 100,000 views on any of his videos. And that's fine. That's not an issue. I'd like to be able to have further reach and be able to, have more opportunities.
I understand.
Plus, especially with doing news, you can't do any sponsors. You can't do any like really highly edited stuff. You can't really be proud of your editing because you need to get it out. It's fast. News moves quickly.
Right. You have to. That's the other thing about news is you have to be one of the first if you really want to get the views from that and the attention.
Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly. All right. Well, that's fantastic. So
and you have to be there at the right time and right place.
True, as well. That's for sure. Like time zones, right? Like if you're asleep on one side of the world when it's revealed and everyone else on the other side, it's like, shoot, when you wake up, it's like, no, I'm like 10 hours late to this.
Yeah, like today, the promo like thing for the new Captain Rex set, or for the new UCS Venator set just came out. I was in school. I wouldn't have been able to, film anything for it because I was here. And, normally I would if I was in that circumstance, but I couldn't. And then you would instantly lose out after, 2 or 3 people are... And you're also, like, you're all in... It's a crab pot, and you're all trying to grab those 40, 50,000 viewers who are seriously interested. Maybe 100,000.
Exactly. Plus, it's also... Even if you are one of the first, some people like to watch news videos from their specific favorite content creators. So even then, you have to have the people who want to watch you and then also be one of the first. So not that it's not like, once again, like you can totally get into LEGO news stuff, but it's just you have to keep those things in mind and decide if that's worth it for you or not, I think.
Yeah, and I think for some people it works. My buddy Lifebricks, he's been doing fantastic with the news. He's about to hit 50,000 followers. He was stagnant at like 20,000 for years. And now he does news videos and he hasn't been uploading very frequently recently, but he was uploading almost every day and he was getting like 10, 20,000 views per video, which is pretty good.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. Okay, so our first viewer-submitted question of the episode is by the Brickaniac, who was on the podcast before, and he asks, what has been your most challenging video so far?
Okay, so it's the one I just uploaded, or by the time this is uploaded. I destroyed 100 Lego sets. That was the most creatively difficult project I think I've ever done on a number of levels, and it didn't perform super well. And I think that's in large part due to the fact that people aren't the biggest fan of seeing Lego sets get destroyed. so
Yeah.
So yeah, but I thought like it looked so cool. I'm still happy I did it. I learned so much from that entire process,
Really?
and really, it had a lot. So like for instance, I dropped the Death Star. I have to move. I have like this entire lighting setup. I had to move all my lights up there. I had to get 5 cameras running all at once with mic'd up, and for that one drop, and you're all doing it for about 1 second. And that's that's really what you're going for. And it's all the lead up, all the build up. You're building up little segments all throughout the video. So then after that, like I'm rolling Baby Yoda down the stairs, and I'm giving my reaction, and then I'm attaching sets to the like the ceiling fan, or I'll be like in a dinosaur outfit, violently like running over and destroying an entire clone army, gunships, ATTEs, fighter tanks. I don't know if you saw this video or not.
I did. I watched it.
Yeah, and then you have other ones where I'm literally going out in the pool and I'm throwing the Star Destroyer into the pool and using the dishwasher and the washing machine and all these things to see what will happen to these sets. I went out with my car and I rolled over one and I dragged one from the back of the car and I did all of that. And let's see I'm trying to think what other intense ones I did. And it was getting all that coordinated and filming it. And I have people who intern with me from my Boy Scout, the Boy Scout troop I'm affiliated with. They interned with me, and they were helping me filming and moving the lights around. And I'm learning really how to direct and process and know what shots I want. With most of my videos, it's like on the table, and I'm able to script out generally what it is I want to do and what I want to build. This was completely new. It's the hardest video I've had to do by far. And the editing was a lot, and it took a month of my time. So I basically spent my entire August doing just that video. And and while I was doing that, I pre-recorded the 30-day series. So that's what kept my channel alive during that time. Because if I didn't have that, I would have been a dead channel for a while.
I see. Wow, that's really interesting to note. I can imagine that would be really difficult to just one, think of all the ways, because 100 ways to uniquely destroy a Lego set like that. I couldn't even think of that. So I can see how that would take a while. But also,
lucky for me, I have a great like group of people. I have a Discord server. I'd probably have you in there. I don't know if Blitzbricks talked about this on your podcast. We have a server, and it has a bunch of YouTube guys in it, and we'll bounce ideas and thumbnails and everything off each other. So they were giving me ideas for different ways to destroy, and it wasn't as hard as you think it would be. Plus, when you group them up, like when I did the Clone Army, that was 26 sets. So
yeah, exactly. You kind of knock out quite a few of them in a specific way of destruction.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was just gonna ask, what the hell possessed you to destroy 100 Lego sets? Genuinely, what was going on there? I kid you not, I was watching that video, and I was literally I could feel the pain of that. I was like, no, this hurts to watch.
Because when I was younger, I watched all the drop test videos. They were so cool. I love watching Lego sets getting destroyed. Because all of us, we hate it, but we also kind of love it. You would go and watch. You look on YouTube generally. There are a lot of videos with hundreds of millions of views of people dropping Lego sets. So I was like, okay, I got to do something really cool with that, and it's doing pretty well. It's 130,000 views, which is pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Compared to my other videos, it's not fantastic because I think there's a certain audience that's hitting there. And also, I understand. I vibe with I don't like seeing Lego sets get destroyed. They were all rebuilt. Not a single brick in that entire thing other than the Hermione, which I ran over with my car.
I was going to say,
actually fractured. Like none of the bricks actually
Yeah.
fractured. None the Death Star,
Wow.
not any of those. I think
Was like the
the
minifigure that you dragged not like scraped up, like the bricks all like maimed or something?
he was a little scraped up, but he was good enough that I used him in my current video and he looked good. So
Wow.
you can't really tell. Well, the feet were a little scraped up, but hard to
Lego
you could
should
barely
use
tell.
that. Lego should use that video as like an ad for just how durable the bricks are. It's just like you can do all
Yeah,
this
they
shit
make a
with
good
it and
product.
they will be fine. That's
It's
awesome
great.
though. All right. Let's see. So wait, you said something really interesting there. So you said that you're part of a Boy Scout group and some of the guys there interned with you. Can you talk
Yeah.
about that a bit?
Okay. So I've been involved with like Boy Scouts since I was like a little kid, and you know they were the only people like in my personal life outside of my family that knew what I was doing. A lot of the people that are involved with that, and there are three people. I'll shout them out here: Matt, Aiden, and Ryan, and two of them are brothers, and they've been a great help. They've just been I'll pick them up and they'll come and they'll work on help me sorting sets or build sets or whatever for that 100 set video. I actually had to have some of them built the sets like the one I dropped in the mall. Matt helped build that one,
Oh.
and Ryan. I needed the Death Star to be rebuilt again. So Ryan's kind of crazy because I don't know if he has a lot of time on his hands or something. So like that entire clone army I destroyed. You remember that? He
Yeah.
rebuilt. We just kind of piled it into a bucket at the end. I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll deal with that sometime. And I said, Ryan, you want to work on it? He's like, yeah. So he takes it home. He has it done like a week and like 5 days later. Every single set there, all the gunships. There were like 4 ATTs. He had it all done. He's a
Wow.
mad lad. And I needed the Death Star to be rebuilt for the thumbnail. So he helped me out get that rebuilt right after it was destroyed. No bags. Very good job with that. A few extra pieces, like a nice little plastic bag of extra pieces that I guess didn't make it onto the model, but probably should have been there. I'm not that concerned. He did a great job with it, so that's been really fun, and it's a huge help. It's really great because I don't necessarily have all the time always to be able to sort bricks and stuff, and they've been a huge help with that, especially when you're trying to do a big resort because like you haven't sorted them
Yeah.
forever. So it's nice that way I could really focus on content stuff, and it's been really I'm really grateful for them. They've been really great about it, and
Wow,
they
that
enjoy it.
is
I mean, they
okay.
sit there, they watch YouTube, and they build Lego sets all day. Like it's a great job.
Yeah, exactly. That's so cool to hear though that you have people from your personal life also helping out with the content behind the scenes cuz I know some people do that, but don't think a lot of people do. So that's really interesting to hear.
I think the mistake a lot of creators make is they don't like to. They're very creative people, and they want to have full control.
Yeah.
I think when you learn to let go of some of the control, that's when you can grow. Because if you only as a human have so much capacity to do so much, and I think my efforts would be best spent actually scripting, producing, and filming the content, and then when it comes to editing, I'd hand it to someone. I say I need this to be worked on, and then I'll get in the call and we'll brainstorm and I'll tell them what I need here and there, and stuff like that. Because it's really hard to do it all on your own, especially if you want to scale.
Absolutely. That is some really good advice there. And I mean, I need to take that as well because I am one of those people you just described where it's like, I mean, I don't think like I could work with anybody just yet just because like I don't think I need to figure out like how to actually like say, "Here, you could do this." But like yeah, no, I have that thing where it's like having full creative control and like you know exactly what you want it to look like, but it's like how do I convey it to someone else? And no, but I definitely see the merits of working with other people and it makes sense that that's like a good thing to do because you also get like multiple I guess perspectives on things as well. It's not just you seeing your own work.
Yeah, I mean, you need to know how to do everything that your employees do for the most part,
Yeah.
or people who work for you. You need to do it from the ground up. So I've done all it. I know how to edit. I know how to sort. I know how to build. I know how to coordinate content and all that sort of stuff. All the stuff that I do other than my Instagram. I can't run an Instagram to save my life for whatever reason. I probably could figure it out if I really wanted to. I have someone doing that. He's doing a great job with it, with posting memes. I don't know if I went from like 10,000 followers to 50,000 in the span of like a month on Instagram.
Ooh.
It was crazy. Yeah, I can't do TikTok either, and I'm not even gonna try TikTok. I just upload all the short form stuff I make on there. I just upload it there, just so you
I
know
don't
how it
blame
does.
you.
But I'm not a TikTok guy. It's not my thing.
Yeah,
There are some people who it's much more their thing. They can have it. It's their thing. YouTube's my thing. Um,
I
and I can
understand
do
that.
Instagram because it's something I can do on the run. So like I can help manage and talk to
True.
him and say like, okay, I want you to do this. TikTok just it's not for me. Uh,
I don't blame you. I
and
think it's an
yeah,
acquired taste as well.
yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yeah, I don't think TikTok isn't quite my the short form content just isn't my thing either, so I completely
Hmm.
understand you there, but it's smart to just, repurpose your YouTube shorts or stuff like that for TikTok. And also on the topic of, working with people. So you have an editor, Blitzbricks, right?
Yes. Hmm.
And I wanted to ask, hold on if I can find the question here.
His question.
His question. We'll get to that one. But let's
Oh boy.
see. So, what point did you decide that you needed an editor, and how much editing does he do versus how much you do yourself?
Okay. So the point I decided I need an editor is when I decided to do the new content style. I You could look at my first like in this style of content because we see it's a ton now. It's most of the it's at least half the Lego YouTube space, and it's very common. It was not common when I started. I was still one of I'd say I was one of the first like three or four to do it. Generic Stud, and then here's a little history lesson on how this got started. Generic Stud was really the first one to do it. He's been doing it for like 3 years now with the fast-paced style of content. He was just in a very niche space in Ninjago, so it didn't scale the way it would have with the way it did with say TD or Sacred for a
Oh
while.
yeah,
Um, and then Sacred saw Generic, and he wanted to adapt that into his own version with his more Gen Z type humor and very very edgy humor. And I love what Sacred's doing with that. And he did really well. And then TD saw what Sacred's doing because they were friends, and he did that. And then Brick Science, I think, is another fascinating one because he's not really a member of
oh
any of
yeah,
that. He's a very unique creative, and he's I think one of the most interesting Lego creatives. I think he'll end up surpassing TD maybe at some point. He has a lot of technical ability with Lego that a lot of people don't have,
yeah.
and he's also fantastic at editing, and he has a crazy grind. So, a mix of all that. He like did Creator Now. I was talking to him when he had like 100,000. He was very good too. But yeah, that's how that kind of formed. It really started with Generic. Anyway, when I started doing more fast paced, highly edited, more meaningful content that would last longer. I was doing the first couple of videos. You could look at them. You could pretty much tell the distinction between with when I started them and when I had Blitz start doing them. Now Blitz reached out to me, and this was around the time I was like, I probably need an editor, and it was just editing was not my favorite thing. Editing has never
Yeah.
been my favorite thing. I can do it. It just it takes a lot of time, and it's a lot of time where I'm like, I could be filming, and then I hire some so I could get double the production of whatever I'd normally be able to do. So we ended up working on our first video together was I got these fake Lego Star Wars figures. That video did gangbusters. It was a really good video. That's the first time I've used that phrase. So
I don't even know what that means.
it did well.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, this is gonna be something we're doing now, and we've almost been working together a year now. So that's really
Oh
exciting.
wow.
Yeah, and I hope it is many more years. We just finished this last project. It was our biggest editing or longest editing project I think we've done. It's an 18-minute video.
Oh damn. That's impressive.
Yeah. Yeah.
I see. So does he do most of the editing for the videos now? Do you do like little
Yeah.
parts in it or?
Sorry about that. Yeah, so he'll edit most of it. I'll tell him what to do, and he'll do most of it. And basically around like 3 months ago, he was spending a lot of time connecting the audio I was giving to the actual like footage, and he's like, "Listen, it probably isn't the most effective use of my time because he's I pay more for him. Obviously, he's a good editor. He has a lot of technical skills. He said it would probably be a better idea if I could have someone else. A, because he didn't have the time. B, because it's expensive. So it would probably be a better idea if I had someone else work on the B roll, so they connect the B roll to the A roll. So I have this guy, Senior, who helps me, and he's been doing that, and then he sends it over to Blitz, and then Blitz polishes the video, makes it everything that it is. He spent 21 hours on this recent one.
Ooh.
22 hours actually. Um,
Shoot.
so yeah, it's quite impressive.
That is
I don't know if
that
he talked to
is
you about that one at all.
I think he did mention that on the episode. Yeah, which by the time this one's out, you guys can all go listen to Blitzbrick's episode, which will
Yeah,
be
this one will. Oh, yeah, I was gonna say this one's probably be called Lego, but every day it gets bigger or something like that. I haven't finalized what I
okay.
want the title to be. Yeah.
Interesting. All
What were
right.
you
Well, you
saying?
guys can look out for that video too. That's really interesting though. Just you describing like working with these other guys in the Lego space and out, because I think it kind of you and some of the other bigger YouTubers I've noticed have started to work with other people to create their content. And it's interesting to me because before like the past few years, Lego content for the most part, excluding groups like Beyond the Brick or people like that, it was mainly a one person show, right? Like one person would do everything for the channel and it would just be one person working on it. But now it seems like the Lego YouTube space has really grown into a more mainstream place, I guess is a way to describe it. You know, it's more than just the Lego community watching the videos now. And it seems like the space is kind of mimicking or has more, I guess, resemblance to other communities I wouldn't say communities, but I'd say creators, like the animation community, like
Yeah.
Jaden Animations and the Odd Ones Out, how they also started as just singular creators,
Mhm.
but now they have teams of people working with them just because of the production quality of the videos. To keep that up consistently, you really need a lot of people working on it. So it's pretty exciting to me to see the Lego space getting to the point where like the content is getting to that level of quality and
Mhm.
I guess editing level that now more people need to be brought in to create videos for all these
Yeah.
different channels like you guys.
I think I'm the only person I'm actually aware of that doesn't edit their own videos. I know there's some people out there like they'll have like certain portions edited and they'll like have people like do like certain parts. But I think I'm the only one who fully does that. At least for my main channel. For my second channel, I edit everything. Um,
Okay.
but for my main channel, I think I'm the only one I know that does that. Um, but yeah, I 100% understand what you're saying. I think it's still the singular creative to a degree, and I think
Oh
that's
yeah.
also and it kind of has to be that way. Lego's a very individual hobby. So it would
Yes.
be kind of hard to like with Mr. Beast where he does video like challenge videos or is like last to leave or whatever. For early Mr. Beast, at least I've been following him since he had like 600,000 subs, which
Wow.
crazy glow up by the way. Um, but he was able to do a bunch of stuff like with his friends where he's like reacting to stuff or whatever. It's a lot harder to do that with Lego.
Oh, definitely. Like it's still very much a minority, but it's just cool to
Yeah,
see how the space is evolving like that. I mean, I know Blitz has mentioned that he also edits for Generic Stud as
generic.
well.
Yeah, he's
And I
edited for
think
Sacred.
oh, yes, as well. Okay, cool. So yeah, like I know that a few Lego YouTubers do have help in different areas like that, but you're right. It is still mostly a one person show, but it's cool to see how it's evolving in all those little ways. Because I
Hmm.
mean, like you mentioned, now the space is very different now compared to where it was like 3 years ago.
Yeah, I 100%. I think and I think that's for the better because you get more of a variety. Back in the day, you weren't getting videos of I built Disney World in Lego. Like that's
Yeah.
a cool thing. Like you were at most getting like your like Lego City walkthrough and it had like a Disney castle in it or something like that. And I think that's beneficial because now you're getting both those types of videos on the platform. You're getting the Lego City walkthroughs and you're getting the more entertainment stuff. And a lot of people are saying, "Oh, it's so bad. It's not, it killed the Lego community." All the Lego community was before, and I was there. Like I said, I've been following it for a long time. It was reviews, it was news, and it was occasionally you would get, I don't know, you'd occasionally do an interesting series like you'd hear about drop tests or clone army building or mock videos. That was pretty much what the Lego community was relegated to. So this
And
really
stop
opened
motion
up
as well.
possibilities. Yes, and well, of course, stop motions. I think of those; they're like a completely different. They're like cinematic pieces. So I think of them in a different sphere. But you're 100% correct. So I think
Oh.
it opens up a new realm, and all the other old stuff is still there too. There's plenty of room on the platform. It's a crowded platform.
True. It's not like replacing it. It's more like you have more
Yeah,
options now depending on what your taste
exactly.
is. Very cool.
100%.
So, on the editing subject, how do you make sure you convey your creative vision to Blitz when you're working with him on editing?
It's actually funny you bring that up. So, I don't know what you talked about because I haven't been able to watch your episode yet. We kind of like can just know each other. We know what we want, and I'll say, like for instance, there's this feature where like shake the screen around violently and you'll have like the buzzing noise. There was this thing we did when we were like, this was like last November, where you did like 100 celebrities, and one of the celebrities was Phil Swift. And he did a thing where I saw this Bowden hat, and I told him like, can you like shake around the screen and like give him laser eyes? And he was like, yeah. And he just knew exactly
and he knew
what
exactly.
I wanted. And now I'm like, you know, like the thing we did with Phil Swift, and I'll still say that, and he'll be like, yeah. We kind of read each other that way, and it's a long process thing. You really have to work with someone very closely over time to get to understand the style. And he helped develop a lot of my style because, like I said, I only had like 3 or 4 or 5, maybe 5 very highly edited videos I did myself. So he really kind of helped develop it into what it's become. And then we keep evolving. He's gotten very into. He's very good at doing musical cues, and that's something we're working on very highly, and things like that. So if you listen to the videos,
he did mention that.
Yeah, he's very.
He mentioned that music is a very important thing in the videos and changes the tone as well.
Yeah, and I think that you set a mood based on the sounds that you're using. Something I was talking about with Brad's Brick Post recently. For a while, Lego YouTube has gotten very generic in terms of the sound effects that are used and the coloring. A lot of people will just set up a singular color background and that's the video. And things like that. And he was saying what I was able to do that was a little different from people is I'm able to do things that are very broadly appealing. You look at his thumbnail, like he did a recent one. I made a zoo with 100 animals in it. Like, it's very straightforward. And then the video, he just makes it very clear and concise. And where was I going with this? I was going to say something about. I want to pull up his comment because I thought it was very profound. So Brad told me about sound effects. He uses very different sound effects. You watch his videos. His videos have very different sound effects. All of his videos has been averaging like 1 million views, which is incredible.
What? Wait, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, or a lot of his videos have been averaging, and he only has 70,000 subscribers, which is why he kind of sneaks under the radar. And the reason I bring this up, like I have a 6-year-old cousin, and he just started like getting into like YouTube and watching like Lego videos, and apparently one day I showed up in his recommended, and he's like, "Mom, look," and he didn't realize I was like, he knows I do this, but like it's like subconscious because like I'm real to him.
I
These
see.
people aren't real to him.
Yeah.
I'm like, so it's weird when I show up on his thing. But Brad, all his videos were showing up in my cousin's feed, and I'm like, that's fascinating. And I really thought, and that's when I'm like, okay, what is it he's doing? Because he's able to clearly get a very broad audience. And I thought that was some neat advice that he gave.
Definitely, yeah. I've seen him before, like I'm subscribed, and I've seen a few of his videos. But you're right. I'm just looking at the view count on like the most recent ones, and like they're really high. That's very impressive. Wow.
Yeah, he's very talented. He quit his job to do it full time.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
He's a cool guy.
That's really cool to
Very
hear.
nice guy.
All right, so before I go into some of the other questions, while we were still kind of roughly close to the Blitz subject, I'm going to ask his question now. He said,
Okay.
Hello, Logan. Why did you call me a nerd in my podcast episode? I am deeply offended.
Because you are one. That's when you do the like the meme where it's like the guy like falling into his friends with the and the right.
Oh, exactly.
Let's edit it in. It's good.
Exactly. Okay, nice.
No, he's a great guy. I love him. He's great, but he is Canadian,
Absolutely.
so that is minus a few points. Like if he was a 10, him being Canadian is like a minus like 3. So
interesting.
He's a
interesting.
7
All right.
by default. Like the highest he will ever be is a 7 because he's Canadian.
He's a 10, but he's Canadian.
Should we do like a question speed round after, like later on? That would be fun.
I think that's a good idea to do a viewer submitted question speed round. But let's see. So if you did have one, what was the first video of yours that really blew up and propelled you forward in your content creation?
Okay. So I mentioned the Rico Lego Star Wars story one. That was like my stop motion. So the first part of it, that one got like 10,000 views initially, which was like, again, like gangbusters for me. That was really good at the time because my average video would get like 200-300 views. That one did really well. Then the sequel to that did really well. That one did better than that one. That one got 30,000 views. That did very well. Then after that, I'd say I was doing a lot. Like I did this one where I like took the 501st Battle Pack and I made it into a custom build, and that was my biggest video for a while. It sat around like 70, 80,000. That was when I had like, I don't know, like 10, 20,000 subscribers. And then things really, really started to like pick up around last August, when I really decided to go full hog on the new style of content where I built every Star Wars movie. That one got 1 million views,
Right.
like really quickly. And then the one that absolutely blew up, it was very good timing. It was right around the holidays and everything like that. It was the Cursed Lego minifigures video. It's at like 2.5 million now. It initially, I remember sitting at dinner and I couldn't look away. It was December 19th. I remember, or it was I think it was December 19th. I think last year, yeah, it was when I hit 100,000 subscribers. And it's the large part of that video. And I was scrolling, and I'm looking at the number 1 out of 10. So, like, you look at, like, the other ones, like the Vader one, that did really well. It's outpacing that one by, like, 40,000 views, 50. And I'm like, what is going on? And my mom's like, get off your phone. I'm like, yeah, but look.
I'm blowing up, though. What do you mean?
Are you seeing this? And, like, I had a very similar experience in August when I started the short series. My TikTok went from having like 17,000 followers to like 40,000 followers while I was at Brick Fair. Like in like a day. Because I had like one short and like 2 million views. So that was kind of incredible. And now I have like 60 something thousand. Like the second I hit like 60,000, it just down.
Yeah.
Just stopped. And same thing with Instagram. The Instagram and TikTok are really what blew up this summer. And YouTube did pretty well too. I got like 20 something thousand this in August. I got like I got close to 30 in August, I think, which was pretty good. And actually, I'm really hoping. I don't think I'm gonna hit it today, but I really wanted to. I really wanted to hit 250 today because it's like the last day of summer, and I thought my goal for the summer was hit 250. I'm basically there, so like I'm fine with that. But like I'm right there, and I'm sure by the time this is up, I'll hit it. That's beyond cool to me. 250,000. Wow. I still haven't wrapped my head around that.
Exactly. No, it's so hard to like think about like that many people in one room just like standing there. It's like that. I mean, that's like, I'm assuming, I don't really know the numbers of people at concerts generally, but I assume that's like a good concert like attendance numbers, something like that. Like
I want to look up. Insane. So Yankee Stadium max capacity, because I think I did this. It's 46,000 people. So I could fill up Yankee Stadium. So wait,
oh my
1 second.
God. Yeah, go for it.
Divided by 46,000. Okay, so I could fill up Yankee Stadium almost 6 times. If I filled up Yankee Stadium about 6 times, that would be about my sub count.
That is absolutely insane.
It's weird to think of that way. It's weird,
right?
To think of that.
And I mean, I guess like with any subscriber base, like a portion of the subscribers are inactive, but that's still a vast majority, and like that's huge. Like that is absolutely insane.
I don't know, man. It's something to behold.
Yeah, no, seriously though, congrats on that. Like that is incredible.
Thank you. I mean, yeah.
All right, let's see. So, do you think you could share a bit of the story behind the making of your building World War II out of Lego video? Because it is not your normal Lego video, and I've never really seen something quite like it, where it has a whole other element to it that is a very hard element to achieve, might I say, if you haven't seen the video, beyond just doing builds based off World War II. So could you talk a bit about that?
I'm really glad you asked about that. I was actually, when I was in Brick Fair, and I was meeting, people in person, they were telling me, like, I really loved the World War II video. Now, for those who don't know, I did a video. I built World War II in Lego. And I had this really cool idea. So, long story, I was pitched on this sponsor for World of Warships, and I never even considered doing a war video up to that point. I'm like, I just got a cool idea. I think it wasn't Memorial Day. It was D-Day. It was the anniversary of D-Day that day.
Okay.
And I was scrolling through my phone on the hashtags, and there was this group that showed up there because, it's a very important day in American history where, these young, it's weird to think about, especially, where I'm at in my life, where these, young, 18-year-old kids who were running onto the beaches almost to their certain death and, doing this really heroic stuff. So I was scrolling through the hashtags and seeing the different pictures, and this World War II Veteran History Project showed up. And I was brainstorming all this. I was in my first block class. I'm looking at my phone. And what if I had World War II veterans tell their story and then I build it in Lego? And I was like, that would be so cool. So I worked with this guy. His name is Ben Jackson. I still talk to him every now and then. He's really cool. He goes around and he interviews all of the World War II veterans. I think he's like been in and out of Ukraine recently because he's like documenting the war. And
I see.
He's a really cool guy, and he goes and meets these people like Captain John Ron. He turned 100 this year, and he is the last surviving commanding officer from D-Day. That was in the first wave. So like, if you've seen Saving Private Ryan, Tom Hanks's character, he was like the captain there, and that he basically had the same job as Tom Hanks's character during the D-Day invasion, and he was from the first wave and everything. And like, this guy is an actual like true honest to God hero, and I thought it's so cool. I think it was a great way, and it was multifaceted. It was a way to tell the stories to a younger audience and to an audience who might not otherwise hear them. And also, it, obviously promoted a great charity, something I believe very strongly in, which is, honoring heroes who sacrificed greatly for us. And it did really well. It's, I think, broken 500,000 views, 500,000 views. I'll have to look. I really am curious now. I haven't looked at it in a minute. Yeah, 430,000 views. No, it's not in a million. I hope at some point it does. And I was able to build each of their battles. And I think that would be awesome. I really enjoyed it. That is the most meaningful video I've done. And I was able to build all about it. It was just so cool. I had my help with my buddy Waffenbricks. He helped me with the World War II. He provided me with all that stuff, and he was really gracious about it. And yeah, it was one of the more meaningful videos I've done in my life. And I knew going into that I could make $0. I could lose money and spend money on this. I don't care. This is a great piece that I made, and I could look back on it and be proud of it.
Absolutely. No, it was a pretty incredible video. Now, I'm not really a fan of like modern warfare or just real life warfare stuff at all, so I don't tend to watch anything related to that. But I watched that, and it was just so interesting to me how I've really never seen anything quite like it, especially in the Lego space, how you built these situations that these people in real life in World War II were experiencing, and you got their stories behind it, and there was just such a narrative behind it. And I think that's really cool. And I just love how you incorporated a story into the builds, and something that's, part of such a huge point in history. And it's so personal because you're not just looking up, who was this commanding officer in World War II. You actually had your friend go over and talk to them directly.
Exactly, yes. And the hardest thing with that video is I want to be as sensitive as possible to the tragedy of it, and at the same time make it a piece of entertainment that people can watch. Because there are a bunch of war videos, people will like do D-Day recreations and whatever. I knew this was going to be a piece of entertainment, but and like with World War II stuff, a lot of the time it's just documentaries. And unfortunately, documentaries are not entertainment. War movies are entertainment. But this isn't a war movie, this is Lego. So by that extent, it has to be some form of entertainment, and you want to be sensitive to it because you have the veterans that are in the video. And I did do some slip-ups in the video. Many people pointed out I am not an expert on World War II weaponry, so I used the wrong weapons, and a lot of people took notice. I should have been more conscious of that. So, like, some of the Americans had German weapons and Germans had American weapons. They
just stole them from each other. You can make an excuse there.
That was kind of the logic. I'm like, well, they stole each other's tanks from each other. It was. I'm not an expert on this stuff. I mean, it was a mix of that, and also like my great grandfather was a World War II veteran, and I had the great privilege of getting to know him a lot when I was younger, and it leaves an impression on you, especially with this generation, that generation, in my belief, to be one of the greatest generations, who actually fought and saved the world, in my opinion, and I wanted to do some sort of honor to that generation at least, and I thought that by doing this, that would be a great way to communicate that to young people who. A lot of the people, I'm going to assume there's a portion of my audience that is on the younger side, 11, 12, 10. I got to know that. I get to know that generation growing up. They won't. They're not going to get to know them. So I think while I still have a couple of them here, they'll be able to watch that, and they'll be able to humanize that these are real people and this was a real thing. It's like the way you and I think about the Revolutionary War. We think of that as that's some distant thing.
Yeah.
But like they were real, just as real as these people, as these veterans. They're just as real as the soldiers we have today.
Yeah, no, it's really amazing, honestly. And once again, just the way you were able to balance the story with the recreating of these scenes and just the whole concept behind it is just something really amazing. And I think,
Thank you.
you know, I love seeing now more people in the community start to incorporate story and like meaning into like deep meaning into their videos. So it goes even beyond just entertainment. It's like something that actually connects with certain people. And I absolutely love it. I think that was an amazing video.
Yeah, and I think after that, one of the lessons I took away from that video is learning to add a wow factor into videos. Because like it could have just been a
Yes.
general video where I make 5 battles and from World War II, and it would have probably gotten about the same amount of views. But you're getting a lot of recurring viewers after that. Because if someone's really impacted by a video, they're gonna want to see more of what you have to do. So, to a more funnier extent, like I did the illegal minifigures video. At the end, that video led up to having Dean Norris from Breaking Bad at the end giving his commentary on it and calling out generic stud and things like that. And I thought that was funny. It's like, wow, he had the guy from Breaking Bad in his video. I want to see what he's gonna do next. And I think that's a great way because most viewers you get on YouTube are reoccurring. So yeah, anyway, I'd say that was probably that's the most meaningful video I've done. I'm really happy with it, and I'm really happy how well it went.
Absolutely. I think I'm looking forward to seeing more things like that come from the community as well that have a narrative behind them and like a deeper meaning.
That would be interesting. What kind of videos would you want to see done? Like, are there any like issues that you think could be depicted well in Lego?
Ooh, that's a good question. Issues depicted well in Lego. I'm not sure. For me, like I prefer to just focus on like the fun of stuff. So I'd just say like just videos having a story to them more and not I guess there is some story in videos like I think the current wave of like videos that are being produced by, all the big guys right now, there is kind of a fun story to them, but I'm talking more like a bit more of a deeper story, like your World War II one or something like that. It would be really interesting to see more narratives worked into videos like that.
It's very hard to do stuff that is particularly deep, mainly
Yeah,
due to the fact that of the medium we work with, which is Lego, which is inherently not that deep. And even when deep stuff does happen on YouTube, it's very hard for it to hit the algorithm because it needs to be
true.
entertaining and engaging. So it's a talented mix. So like that video, if I was to do it without the World War II veterans, I would guess it probably could have performed better with the algorithm. I think people who click on it, I think they enjoy it, but the people who don't, but the algorithm doesn't promote it as much just because it doesn't have as broad of an appeal that other certain videos might.
Maybe.
So it's more like people are trying to play with the algorithm and make sure they can hit it as well as have meaningful. So like I think someone who's been able to do that really well has been Generic. He's been very good about
Yeah.
that. He wants to really have a sense of purpose in a lot of his videos. And you could look at his like he did one where it was like he recreated your
Yes.
childhood in Lego or like things like that. He's very story driven in that regard.
Yes, I totally forgot about that. That's one thing I've been loving about his more recent videos is on the surface when you first see it, it seems like it's just a fun, silly video like normal. But then he like weaves in this really like emotionally hard-hitting things into it, and it slowly like you notice that more and more as the video goes on. And I just noticed that and I was like, wow, like that actually
Yeah,
like I felt that and it was really interesting.
I think he's done it the best.
Yeah, no, it's been really interesting to see all the innovation in the space recently.
100%.
What was it you wanted to say again?
Well, I guess we'd segue in. I don't know, like how it affects your personal life. I think would be a good question,
Like how Lego affects my personal
or
life?
like how like having the YouTube thing maybe.
But yeah, I mean, just to quickly answer your question there, that's a really cool one. And I do think about that a lot with other people as well. For me, I think I've actually been very lucky with like Lego and the content creation stuff in my personal life. My mom is very supportive of it, which is great. She's usually the one that tells people before I do, and like I'm not shy about it. But I don't like to lead with that, and sometimes she'll mention that's one of the first things I do. And at first I'm like, okay, I wouldn't have said that just yet. But then like she says it with such confidence and excitement that she gets other people excited for it, which is really nice. And yeah, whenever I tell people about it, like I just flat out tell them what it is. But I make sure it doesn't sound like, yeah, I'm playing with Legos in front of a camera. But I explain what it is that I'm doing specifically. And so far I haven't had any issues with judgment or anything like that. People have been pretty supportive, or they just genuinely haven't cared. It's one of those two, really. And like,
Yeah, I think that's it.
yeah,
Most people really don't care that much. Um, that's
exactly.
the thing. I'm very lucky. My parents are both very supportive of it. Um, my grandma is like my biggest cheerleader. She goes around saying stuff that to relatives like, "Oh, you know how much you," and I'm like, "Don't say that." But I love her to death. So, it's really fun. I'm sure like my family has to think I'm crazy or something. They're like, what is this kid doing? But maybe they don't. Maybe they think like, oh wow, look how good he's doing. Or maybe they think I'm crazy. I don't know. Like my extended family. Um, and then it wasn't really a known thing like among I guess when I go to school or whatever. And I've been doing it since I was in a freshman in high school, and it wasn't really a known thing until like this year, pretty much.
Wow.
Because I showed up. I guess I started showing up over the summer in people's recommended feeds. Um, it's a mix of that and some people who
Okay.
knew would be like, "Oh yeah, he does this," and some crazy
That's
things
cool
were
that you were
thrown out.
showing
Some
up in the
crazy
recommended feed
allegations
of like
were
just
thrown
people
out.
in your school. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, one of my friends who I've known for a while, he doesn't watch any of this type of content. He had one of my 30-day series videos show up in his TikTok feed, and he didn't even realize it was me for a second. Uh, and that was certainly
Just wasn't
interesting.
expecting
My,
it.
this was crazy. This is a crazy story. Um, my mom was in Costco recently, and Costco has Lego sets now, and and she was showing me because they had the advent calendar and all that sort of stuff, and it was a really good price. I'm like, oh yeah, you should get it. So she put it on FaceTime to show me what she had, and there's a kid at the end of the Lego aisle, and I guess he
Oh
sees
my
my
god.
mom's phone screen. Mom, that's a Lego YouTuber, and I'm sitting there on the FaceTime, and I was like, "You want to say hi?" And he's like, "Hi," and I'm like, "Hi."
Dude,
That was the most unique experience I've had.
that's how you know you've made it. I mean, my god, that's crazy. Like showing up on
And
your friend's feed who like doesn't really look at Lego stuff and something just like that happening. Like you FaceTime your mom and then some kid is like, "Oh wait, I know that guy." Like that's so cool.
my I'm in like this is like the primary because I think Mr. Beast or like a lot of you guys talk about if you hit like if you're at like 1 million and under and you get recognized, it like makes your day. It's great. It validates like that this is a real thing that like people watch you and stuff like that. Like it usually happens you max once a week, like very
Yeah.
max. Like for people with 1 million, a lot of times. Uh, and then you get unless you're going to like convention or whatever. Like when I go to a Lego convention, obviously it's more prominent. But
Yeah,
then
of
you
course.
go dive and you make 10 million and 100 million. You at that point 10 million you're getting recognized every day. 50 million you can't go out in public. Like
Yeah. I mean,
so,
right, no,
I'm very
yeah.
comfortable where I am right now.
Exactly. It's a good middle point for sure. But you said there were crazy allegations thrown around at your school about the Lego stuff?
Oh, yeah, no. So because I don't talk, I especially last year I would not talk about it at all. Like if people ask me about it, I just kind of shut down and be like, I don't know. Not my I don't know what you're talking about. Um so just because I didn't want to
Pff, what do you mean
I want
Lego?
to avoid I want to avoid it. It just it is what it is. So then people started looking at Social Blade numbers. Like one person looked at the
Oh
Social Blade
no.
numbers and they're looking at like the analytics and the amount of money. So they start throwing around that I make like X amount of dollars, and that let a lot of things happen. People thought, and I never confirmed or denied any of them because I didn't want to acknowledge that it existed to begin with.
Oh my
So
god.
that was kind of an interesting experience. um,
You're just watching all these rumors about you being thrown around and it's like, can we just not talk about it, please?
yes, that. I mean, that's pretty much everyone who has a rumor. It's like all the tabloid. It's like, yeah, I decline to comment.
Right? Exactly. My god, that's funny.
Yeah,
But yeah, no, like
it was an
I'm glad to hear that
experience. Yeah.
you haven't I'm glad to hear that your family has also been supportive of it and your grandma as well. Like that, it's also when there's somebody like rooting for you so heavily, just like it's just nice to have that, And I know like a lot of people, a lot of teen fans especially, are generally like scared to mention it because of, you know, the idea that, oh, it's going to be seen as childish or cringy or whatever. And like, the thing is, I mean, one, a lot of people have said now on the podcast that Lego has kind of gone, like, in the general public eye, has kind of evolved past that quite a lot. Like, people don't really bat an eye quite as much because it's much more normal to collect Lego, action figures, whatever it may be, stuff like that. And yeah, it's like people's mindsets are changing, but also it all depends on how you say it, I think. Like, if you're like trying to hide
That's
it as
true,
if it's
that's
something
true.
to be ashamed about, then I think a lot of people will assume it's something that's like, oh, that's kind of weird. But if you just say it flat up, like, yeah, you know, I collect Lego, I build Lego, I make videos on, like, make Lego content, and especially if you show them what you're doing
Yeah.
as well, I think it gives them a better
That's
idea.
kind of where I am right now. It's last year and the years before I was like, no, this I don't want to. But I'm like, I have 1 year. I'm not that concerned. So I was able. I
Yeah.
was like, you know, I don't care. I don't have to see these people after this year. When it's like you have like to spend 3 more years with these people, I don't really want to. But if they're gonna, if this is how it's gonna be for, you know, and that was the most fun thing when certain people, like, there were certain people I'd know for like years. Like, I'd known them for like 3 years in school or whatever, and they had no idea I was doing this the whole time. We'd talk, we'd have conversations for hours. They have no idea I'm doing this the whole time, and then they find out because someone tells them, and they're like, "What? You do this?" It's like,
It's like the secret identity being revealed.
I'm like, "What did you think?" And I'm always curious, like, what do you think I do with most of my time when I go home? They're like, I don't know. I thought you like read or something, or like you go and turn off. Like, it's like Wally. You just kind of sit and wait for the next day to start. Which, I
Just
mean,
sit in the
touche.
corner, you charge again.
This is something I do find difficult because I do use my time so much. I'm always doing a lot of things. I'm always like, what are so many of these people doing with their times? Like, that aren't doing like a sport or whatever. I'm like, what are you guys doing all the time? Scrolling on TikTok? I mean,
I think that's what a lot of people are probably doing, yeah. So
yeah,
I'd say what you're doing is a pretty good use of your time.
yeah, it's something I've learned, and I tell this to a lot of people. The more time you find yourself having on your hands, it means you're doing something wrong. You need to have something that you're doing all the time. And the less time you have, the better you're doing, the more responsibilities you take on in life, the better your life will be. Because responsibilities
That's
are hard, and
interesting.
they're responsibilities, but they're also the most important thing you're ever going to do.
That's interesting, yeah. I think it's good to have like that, but also, I mean, to also have time for just like yourself as well, to not burn yourself out, but definitely to not just be sitting there just like you want to do something, but it's just like
Don't be a
I have
vegetable.
nothing
Don't just scroll on
to do.
TikTok all
Yeah,
day.
exactly. And yeah, you know, like real quick before I move on from the
Sure.
being confident about Lego topic, like I've had, you know, like friends of my mom's come over, and I've had like grown adult men over here, and I've shown them my room, and they've been like, "Oh, that's so cool!" And like you can see, they just completely
Oh,
like
yeah.
their eyes light up, and they just get
There
so
is not a
excited
visit
about
that
it.
there's not a visit that happens at my house where some adults are trotted into the basement to see my studio. It's it's certainly I think my parents get a kick out of seeing it, people's reaction every time. um, um,
Right?
it's funny. Yeah.
It really is. And I know a lot of people as well are scared of like, oh, judgment from like someone they're interested, like girls or something, like, oh, am I gonna get judged, or guys or whatever. I mean, I can say, at least from my experience, most of my friends tend to be girls, and I've showed a lot of them my Lego, and they all think it's cool or just don't really care that much. So you don't, once again, it's all about the confidence with anybody that you're interested in, or just socially generally. As long as you're confident about what you're doing, that's all that matters.
Yes. Yes.
But yeah,
That's. Yeah.
all right.
I agree
So
with that.
let's
Yeah.
do a speed round of viewer submitted questions.
All right. Let's
All
see if
right.
I recognize any
We
of
got
the
one.
names.
Okay, we got one from Red Bricks Pod or Productions.
Oh,
Prod,
Red
not
Bricks.
Pod. Red Bricks
He
Prod
edited
or
for me for a
Productions.
while.
He what?
He edited for me for a while. He helped
Oh, no
edit
way.
some
That's so
videos.
cool.
There's some short form videos. He's a very great guy. I love him to death.
Nice. He says, "Who's your favorite Brit?" And the eyes emoji.
The Lego one. No, I'm joking. It's Red Bricks. Respectfully,
Nice.
Lego Brit. No, I like both of them. They're both great guys. And SW is great too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm not gonna choose. I plead the fifth.
Sounds good. We have one from Rautardo, I hope I pronounced that right, who asks, Logan, do you have any more plans for your second channel in the future?
Yes, I have 2 videos. We're gonna do a blind bag unboxing, and we're gonna do a full thing with this new sponsor potentially. So that's exciting. I am gonna keep up the reviews. I want to do a review of the UC as Venator on there. I want to do some Clone Army stuff. It's more like I had a
Ooh,
bunch of time in the summer to work on it, and now I'm gonna focus a bit on main channel stuff because I want to have some big videos ready for up there. But working on the second channel, I definitely do have the goal of getting that to 100,000 subscribers. I think I could do it. I'm gonna at least try to upload once every week and a half. That's gonna be my goal. Max once every
nice.
2 weeks. So that's gonna be the goal on there. We're gonna try to get that done. And then I'll try to keep up with news. News again, like I said, it's not as much my thing anymore, but I'll try to keep up on it best I can.
Cool. That's cool to hear. All right, we got one from. Hold on, let me
Public
choose
Studs
one.
2.
All right, we have a question that's kind of similar from both a user by Elmo NL and
Elmo.
the Brickaniac, which is, what is your favorite video you've made?
Okay, it's definitely the World War II one. That's the most meaningful video I've made, and I'd probably say it's my personal favorite. Like, if I had to save one in a fire, and there was a fire, and YouTube was
Yeah.
gonna delete, and I had to take one out, it would be that. But I think the best video I've made is probably the Destroying 100 Sets one. But maybe that's a
Okay.
recency bias. Maybe that's just because I just made it. I don't know.
Yeah, that could be it. I think a lot of us have the thing where it's like, oh, my favorite video is the latest one I did, and then it's like, wait, no, it's not. Now it's the new latest one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to be objective, but that one's probably the most overall entertaining. I'm gonna look through my channel feed now. Is there? I like the school one I did a lot. That one's a good video.
Yeah.
And Disney World was a dream to do, so I always wanted to do that. So that one was cool as well. I'd say it's a tie between those.
Nice. All right, we got another one from the Brickaniac, who is your biggest inspiration? Who was your biggest inspiration? Sorry.
I have a lot, and it's not like YouTube inspiration. I mean, I have general life inspirations and just people I admire. There's this guy Patrick Bet David who I really greatly admire, and he know how to build a business, that sort of thing. There are a couple other people. I'm trying to think. The jury's out on this one. I'll try to. I
Yeah.
really want to think about one, but I really like the question. Growing up, I was a great admirer of Jim Henson. And as
Okay.
someone who has taken on a creative, I guess, profession, it's been really nice to see. I remember reading about that was one of the first chapter books I ever read, and it was talking about how he would always wanted to be on TV, and he would go through, and puppetry ended up being the medium he got on the TV through. I've always
Right.
wanted to do YouTube since I was a kid, and my thought process is I have all the resources at my fingertips. Why can't I do it? I do it, and it works out really well. And I think Jim Henson, when he did it, he was very limited. The only thing he could do, these puppets weren't, the contrary to popular belief, puppets weren't his ultimate, really, that was what he was truly, truly passionate about. But it was what he ended up doing really well at, and people liked him for it. And
Yeah.
he ended up, liking it. So, Lego isn't, the most important thing in the world to me, which is why, I get upset. No, I don't get upset. But it frustrates me when people, get all worked up about clone helmets or something because oh, there's a hole here or whatever, and I'll be thinking to myself, this is your whole life. I mean, I guess it makes sense that you'd be upset about that, but there are a lot more important things to me than
Yeah.
Lego, and the specific. But if Lego is your world, that'll be something that's best to you. So I don't blame people for it, but it makes me kind of sad. I would not want it to be my full life. I don't know how
Of
I got
course.
there from who was my inspiration, but I was coming off of Jim Henson. I get
Yeah,
it.
no, but that's good.
Round answers.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's a good thing you said there. I think having a good balance between Lego can be a huge thing in your life, but it's good to have other things to kind of
Yeah.
balance it as well.
Don't make Lego your main focus in life, and don't make YouTube a central focus in your life unless it's your job. Then you can make it a central focus.
Yeah,
in your life.
I mean, if you want to become a set designer or something, I think also making Lego your focus in your life
Yeah.
maybe is a good idea. It's one of my biggest things, but that's also shared alongside art, animation, voice acting, things like that. So it's it shares a place with multiple things. We got one by Kosher Porky, who asks, if you can bring back one Lego theme, what would it be?
Well, the Muppets hasn't been gone that long, but it would be the Muppets. I hope they do the Muppet
Okay.
Theater so badly. But in actuality, I'd like to see SpongeBob return. That was my first real theme I started getting growing up. I'd really like to see that.
Oh.
So that's my theme.
All right, that's a good one. We got a few more. One by Lepenge, who also says they go by the Laser Brick Lego, asks, I would like to ask, would you do more Lego Star Wars mocks?
Yeah, I want to do Star Wars video at some point in the near future. Trying to think what it would be. Clone bases get so oversaturated, so it's hard to like do that. But I'd want it to be something clone related. So it's like I don't want to do something oversaturated. But yeah, I'm open to doing Star Wars mocks in the future. I did some big ones like the Urbana and the Republic Venator. I just need to find the right time and place an excuse to do one.
Absolutely, because it takes a lot of time to design that stuff as well.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and I'd say we got a good one here to cap them off for now. From Sarah Ray's 23. No question, just grateful for the laughter he provides my family.
Aw, that's awesome. Thank you.
Very lovely. All right, let's see. So
that's awesome.
So some more specifically TFOL related questions. What is it like being a TFOL for you? Do you or have you faced any judgment from people because you're into Lego, and just what's the experience for you been like so far?
I'll do it in the personal life stuff, and then I'll do it in the I guess the YouTube sphere. So I'll start with the YouTube sphere because that one's easier. Especially when I started, it was very difficult because I was kind of like the first teen Lego YouTuber that had really made it. Because, like, growing up, it was all people who were actual adults or they were in their late teens. They were 17, 18, 19. When I really started to pop off, I think I was, like, 14. So...
Oh, wow.
People wouldn't respect you as much because you were younger, so there were, like, that subset of people that wouldn't watch the content just because you were a certain age. Even though all the content was just as good or whatever, there was that to get over. You know, it was harder to get people on board with watching you. And that's just a natural thing. You don't sound like an adult. You don't look like an adult. You're not an adult. So that's fine. So that was something that was the struggle for a while. But, as you get older as a teenager and whatever, it doesn't become as much of an issue, which, is nice. And I was really the first, and it was frustrating to me. And I never fully understood it because I think I was at 10, 12,000 subscribers. And this was around 2020. And, I had interaction with, zero YouTubers. The first one I actually had interaction with is Matt the Brick Whiz, who is a great guy and is awesome.
Oh,
and
yeah.
He lives like 30 minutes away from me. You met Matt, right?
Oh, wow. I haven't met him before, no, but I know who he is.
He's at a lot of the Brick Fair. He was at Brick Fair, I think.
Oh, okay. I don't think I ever saw him.
He did a Top Mock or something. Yeah, So he was the first one. He came on a live stream and he has 30,000 subscribers, and that was big to me because I could talk to nobody. So I always make an effort to try and talk to people, even if they're smaller creators and if they're on the younger side, because I think a lot of people have potential. I coach some people on YouTube.
Oh wow!
Just give some advice on okay, you can do this with thumbnail, optimize this. The video needs X, Y, and Z, but you're doing really good. Gorilla Tube. I've been helping him every now and then with some of his videos. He's really good. I think he has a lot of potential, and he has it in him. He has the drive, and I need to see if I'm gonna help people, because a lot of people will ask me, but then because everyone wants to be a YouTuber, but nobody wants to do the work to be a YouTuber.
Yeah,
I could see if you're putting time into videos, and I could tell. I see the editing. The editing's there, the build's there. It's not just you holding a camera or whatever. I will be more than happy to help, and I see that with a lot of people. So,
all right,
that's kind of my standard, and I try my best to, I guess, keep that up.
That's cool.
Now, as for my personal life, I'll get comments bro, he does Lego videos, but beyond that, it's whatever. I mean. Would I have done Lego as crazy now as if I didn't go down the YouTube path and this didn't end up being something I do? Probably not. I wouldn't be buying every set the way I am or stuff like that. But it's something I do, so I enjoy it. And pretty much everyone knows I do pretty well doing it. So it's like, don't throw stones when you're, what are you doing with your time? I mean,
Exactly. Once again, going back to just scrolling on TikTok, right?
yeah, me and my friend, Boomer Brick Production, or what's his name?
I
He
love
runs
the
like a
name.
Diary of a Wimpy Kid channel. His name, he's a great guy, Julian. We were talking about this, like, because I was just, we were just kind of freaking out over each other because like we didn't, I never quantified because he's been subscribed to me very early on, and just how much it's gotten like crazy, and how to handle certain public situations, like certain situations like that. I gotta say, the coolest situation though has been like when I go to Brick Fair and I get to meet people. This year I probably
Oh yeah.
shook hands with and met like probably close to like 300 people, which who
No
knew the channel,
way.
which they came up or they knew of me or like something like that, and they asked to take someone asked to take a picture or sign whatever. It's one of the most humbling and awesome experiences. It was really cool. And like right after I was about to run out of stickers, I had some extra and I gave it to the Brick Tactical guys so they could include them in the Florida Man packages because I started selling those recently.
Ah,
And
right.
and I gave that to them, and I had like maybe like 6 or 7 left, and that's when everyone decides to come up to me and like ask to take a picture. that
Oh,
that was quite funny, but I ended up having enough, so it worked.
that's good. I'm glad to hear. That's really incredible, though. Like, I can imagine it's just such a surreal experience. Like, it's a very different thing, I've heard when, you can see the numbers, right, online, but then
Yeah,
again, you're also just seeing profiles and numbers. But when you actually have that connection in real life with a person who's like, I watch your stuff and I really enjoy what you make, like, that must just be
yeah.
so crazy.
Especially when I got the comments on the World War II video. That was
Right.
really nice because it means people are really watching and really taking in what I'm putting out, and that means a lot to me. Because like, it's hard to think. Because I can pull up on my phone right now. I'll tell you exactly how many viewers have viewed my videos in the last 60 minutes,
Okay.
and it's always going to be so. In the last 48 hours, it's been 278,000. In the last 60 minutes, it's been 6,500 people. So
Wow.
literally 400 people. Like literally a minute ago, there were 100 people all around the world that are watching me on their screen, and really there's just closer to probably 1,000 people because the videos are more than like a minute long. So there are 1,000 people
Yeah.
all around the world currently watching me on some screen, which is weird for me to think about. And you don't really process that because you don't see it. It's like I said about my younger cousin earlier. He doesn't really like think I'm like real on YouTube. Like he knows I'm real. He sees me, but he sees like a YouTuber saying, yeah, they're like they're out there. There's some being that's not human, and that's
Exactly.
kind of the way YouTubers think about their viewers a lot of the time. You think someone Mr. Beast can really quantify how much 176 million people is?
No, that's
No,
absolutely
you
wild.
can't. That's just an incomprehensible amount of people.
Right? No,
Yes. No,
it's a really, sorry, yeah.
yeah, like all those people that have life experience, family issues, struggles, triumphs, great achievements, bad achievements, have done evil things, have done good things, and you can quantify all that, especially for someone like him. For me, it's slightly easier because I know like okay, the younger audience, they like Lego, but like with him especially, that must be incredible.
Right.
Like, or
I mean,
not
like a
incredible, it
hundred
must be.
something million subscribers, like that's just,
Yeah.
that can fill up a lot of stadiums, that's for sure.
More than a lot of stadiums, yeah. Can you imagine if he does like a Taylor Swift Eras tour?
Ha! Oh my god, though. Imagine if he did a video, I put all my subscribers in one place.
Yeah, Earth.
Earth, right? Mr. Beast in 20 years. So I bought the entire Earth. Anyways.
I bought the moon, and the last one to live on it will, get he gets to keep it.
Right? My God, though. But yeah, like I mean, I had a little experience like that at Brick Fair. That was the first time I've really like met anybody who's seen my content, and meeting
Mhm.
creators who had seen my stuff or just knew my name at least. Especially there were people who I looked up to who like knew who I was prior as well. Like no, who
Yeah.
weren't even necessarily big creators, but they were just people in the space. Like one person specifically, Joshua Deck. He doesn't really do content online, but if you guys are in the Ninjago community, you probably know him. He does amazing artwork, and he's part of the TTV channel. His poster is actually, he did a Ninjago poster, and it was put into the Ninjago City Garden set by Lego.
Oh, really?
So Yeah, it's really amazing.
You're friends with Jillian versus Reality, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, remember she brought all this stuff for your birthday.
She did. That was so sweet. I still have some of the stuff like up on my like drawers up here. That was so sweet. Jillian was amazing. But yeah, like, you know, Joshua Deck, he knew who I was from one of my videos, and he was actually displaying his stuff right across from me. So he's like, "Oh my god, you're Doodle Break." So I'm like, "You know who I am?" And stuff like that. It's so crazy when it's like somebody has seen you but online and you haven't seen them. And like I had one person who was just like a fan as well. A fan, that feels so wrong to say. An admirer of my content, that feels more comfortable. Who came up to me after I did my face reveal, and while it was just one person, it's still just like, wow, like
That's
the idea
awesome.
of, yeah, just the idea there's somebody, I've made a connection with somebody in real life who has seen my content online. Like that's wild, and it's a really weird thing to think about, but really lovely.
Yeah, I fully agree with that.
All right, let's see. So, do you have any in-person friends who are also TFOLs? Like, who aren't necessarily, like, ones that live around where you are, not counting, like, content creators
Yeah, well,
online?
I actually have a friend. He moved away. Growing up, we would always do trading Lego and stuff. He ended up moving, but we'll still talk about it every now and then. Like he knows what I do.
Okay.
Um, and yeah, like he'll occasionally get new sets. He's very into the figures and that sort of stuff. But yeah, I have like some people I know who do Lego in real life. Not many. It's very few. But
Yeah.
yeah,
It's more in the content creation area, yeah?
one of my friends. So the release of the Venator falls in a Jewish holiday, so I can't drive or use my phone. So I don't use my phone at all
Oh,
on Saturdays or drive or anything on Saturdays. So like I'm completely offline.
right.
And a Jewish holiday falls, I believe, the second day of Sukkot falls on the 1st of October, which is when the Venator comes out. So I'm sending
Oh,
him
no.
to get the Venator for me.
Aw,
So I'm gonna use my card. So that'll be fun.
that's, that's so
So
sweet.
I'm
I
gonna
love
send that
the,
out. So I'm like, okay, you get to do this, and you could get yourself something nice while you're there.
that's so cool. I love that.
Yeah.
All right. So, if Lego was going to start focusing on teens more, like they have with this whole Adults Welcome campaign, what do you think they could do for TFOLs to cater to them better?
I think TFOLs are a weird spot in the Lego community. I think honestly, what they're doing with the adult stuff is fine for teen fans of Lego. Um, Honestly, from my understanding, the teen fans they love minifigures and they love battle packs and they they have a lot of disposable income, but not enough to buy $800 sets. So
Yeah.
focus on doing sets that are like in the $20 range, like battle packs. Focus on doing more of those. Lego at one point was doing 4 battle packs a year. Why can't you do that again? And they're getting close. Next year they're gonna have the new 501st one on shelves. They're gonna have the 332nd on shelves, and they're gonna have that $30 clone pack on shelves. So I think they're going in the right direction because that's really I think what most teen fans want. At least
True.
Star Wars fans. I don't know about other themes. I'm just gonna speak for Star Wars fans there, because I'm mainly a Star Wars guy.
Yeah.
Truth be told, so I'm not as into the other stuff. Like I am. Like I like some other stuff, but I've just focused on Star Wars mainly, and like some cool creator sets maybe on modulars I've been getting into lately.
All right. That's cool to hear. I like that. I definitely have heard, like more smaller sets is a good thing because it builds up the collection in a bit of an easier way than dropping, $300 on one set, which not a lot of people can do, especially
100%.
teens.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, let's see. So, as a TFOL, what do you think would be a good way of stopping TFOLs from going into a dark age would be?
um, well, if that's how it happens. I mean, I don't think you need to stop them. We're not a religion. We're not. If you decide you don't want to do Lego for a little while, that's fine. I don't think stopping them is necessary. It's part of growing up. I mean, I decided I wasn't gonna let this part of me grow up. I decided that Lego was just something I was gonna keep doing. But if it's not for you, you don't have to do it. You could still like interact with it however you like. I know some people who are not as crazy about it as they were when they were younger, but every now and then they'll buy a set, and I think that's totally fine. And if you don't buy any sets at all, that's fine too. I mean, it's probably better for your wallet too, and
Yeah.
a bunch of other reasons it's probably better. So you know what? I actually regret that. I'd say if you're a teen, you should probably Stop for a little while.
Get out. Stop buying Lego. Just save the money.
Yeah,
I love
invest
that
the
though.
money, do something. You have put it in an IRA. It'll do. Actually, unless you're keeping the set sealed, it'll do much better for you.
I like that.
I
No,
know
that's a
that's a
good thing though. And
controversial. Yeah,
yeah,
that's a controversial opinion. My other controversial opinion: Lego is a kid's toy. Stop trying to pretend it's not. I'm
cool.
acknowledging of the fact, and it is controversial, and people are going to get very upset at me for this. It's a kid's toy.
It's an
I don't care
opinion.
how you try to justify it. It's a kid's toy. It's toys. It comes with little shooting features. Stop trying to tell me. And yet, yes, I know they're putting 18 plus on it. I don't care. It's a kid's toy. It has play functions.
I like
The
that.
trash chamber closes and open. That's a toy.
I mean, there is an argument to be made for like adult collectibles that also have play features, but we'll leave that debate for now. But
They're
that's a fair
expensive
opinion.
toys.
They're
They're
true.
expensive toys.
But yeah, I do like what you said there about, it's okay to take a break or just not be as crazy into it if you're not feeling it.
Yeah.
I think it was on Four Studs episode, which should be the previous episode that's out. I think he also said something similar to that, where it's like, it's okay to take breaks. You don't always have to be so crazy into it. And you
Yeah,
can come
and I
back
mean,
to it later if you want to. It's not like you're being outcast if you just want to try out other things for a while.
here's a mistake I would tell people if you're a teen and you're like looking to get out of it, and that chances are if you're listening to this and you're this far into the podcast, that's not the case. So
Yeah.
I don't know who this applies to. Don't sell them because
Yes.
every Lego thing I've sold, I've regretted selling. And A, they always go up in value. B, you could give them to your kids one day, even if they don't go up in value. Or C, you may get to 30 or 40 and you really don't need them back, then you sell them. They're going to be worth buckets of money, trust me. That's the mistake a lot of people make is they become teenagers, they have all their old childhood Lego sets, and like, I don't need them, and they sell them. Or they go away to college and their mom sells them on Facebook Marketplace to people like me for really good prices. And then they come back and they're like, Mom,
How could you do that?
So hide them from your mom, so that way she doesn't sell them at a yard sale or something or on Facebook Marketplace, and don't sell them. I know you might need the cash. You might want to go out with your friends. You'll find other ways to get cash. You won't find another way to get those sets from when you were a kid back. And yeah, I'd say that I don't think I've made that mistake. I think I sold a white Boba Fett. That was my biggest regret. Probably I sold it for $100, which at the time was a really good price, but now it's not. I sold like $100, but now I think it's going for more than that.
Jeez.
But yeah, don't sell.
That's good advice. I like that. What is something you would
Right,
like to see happen or change in the teen Lego community?
I don't know. Stop getting so worked up about little details. This isn't, again, a targeted at the Lego Star Wars community. Say, yeah, this isn't great, but don't just talk about it forever. Like, yeah, Captain Rex is a Hummel. Get over it. It is what it is. It's not great. I'm not defending Lego here. I'm not a Lego shill or whatever the names you'll use, the pejoratives you'll use to describe it. Calm down. You'll survive. You have a whole life ahead of you. The plastic molding will not kill you. If it bothers you that much, buy something from Grandpa Cone Customs. There are plenty of alternatives. Oh no, but Lego should do it. No. Calm down. There are bigger things. That would be it. Just calm down. Enjoy the product. It's your hobby. Don't make it into something you hate. Like I don't get this where there's like an avid look to hate, and I get it from the YouTuber's perspective. So just don't listen to the YouTubers who commentate on that, including me, because I would commentate on like stuff and be like, this isn't great. Don't get worked up over it, because I know I'm friends with people. I'm friends with Life Bricks. He's very critical of stuff. Me and him have this debate all the time, and my attitude is once you get your head out of the sand, it's a lot easier. I mean, there's this story. It's a very stupid and old joke. It's a joke about a fish, and the fish was swimming with his friend, and one fish says, how's the water? And the other fish says, what's water? And the joke is how when you're swimming in it, that's all you know. You don't know there's anything else. But once you get out of there, you can look above the water and you see there's water. But once you get out of the like niche Lego Star Wars Captain Rex helmet whole thing, and you get out above it, you see, oh no, that's stupid. So I'm at that point in my life. So I'm just taking sets for what they are. I like the New Republic gunship because I really don't care if Commander Fox has a weird misprint on him.
Honestly,
Cool.
like with that
I've
one,
always wanted
I looked
Commander
at like the actual clone trooper. I genuinely couldn't tell you what was off about that.
Here I'm looking at him right now. So there's like he has the chest plate and there's like a thing under it and then like the stomach area. So the thing in the middle, that's supposed to be a different color supposedly. And then also they didn't have the waist combo, which
Interesting.
not great.
Yeah.
But again, I'm not gonna work myself up over it. Like
Exactly.
the fact that I've
No.
spent any amount of brain cells talking about it bothers me.
I understand that. I think that's good though to not get too worked up over small things. Like I love the quote. It's a plastic helmet is not gonna kill you. I put that up on your wall. That's hilarious.
This is also why I say it's a toy, like it's a kid's toy. It's functionality. It's another play feature. They could attach a little thing in the thing.
Exactly.
It is what it is.
All right. So I'd say for the penultimate question before I ask the question I ask every guest before I end, what's the goal for the future of your channel? Would you like to go full time? Do you want to keep it as just a passion thing you do? What's the goal?
I think. So I don't know if it's something I want to do like for the rest of my life. It's certainly it's taught me a lot of things, and I just don't know if I could see myself doing a job with Lego that could support like a family and all that sort of stuff full time because nobody thinks that way, but that's how I think. So I don't know if it's something I'd do forever, but definitely in the next 5 years, I'm gonna try play my cards very well. My penultimate goal, if I could hit 1 million subscribers, that would be goals.
Okay.
And if I could hit 1 million subs and to consistently get views and stuff and do well, that would be like, okay, I've made it. I'm happy with that. And like I'd feel comfortable at that point. But like I'm gonna keep pushing until I get there. I'm not stopping anytime soon. And if I hit 1 million subscribers tomorrow, I would still be pushing as hard. I'd just probably reevaluate in like 5 or 6 years. Like, okay, is this something I see myself doing for the next 5 years, 10 years? Because you can make a lot of risks when you're younger, and that's good. But as you get older, it's a lot harder to make more risky decisions. And I'm betting on a lot, like that YouTube happens and that advertisers will still buy ads and that AI won't take over the platform. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that's really good. Kind of like taking it just as it goes, like having a general plan, but also being able to sit down and at different points and being like, okay, do I still want to keep doing this? Like checking in with yourself. That's a really important thing to do.
Yeah. 5-year plans.
Exactly. But also you don't always have to have 5 years planned out necessarily, but it's just kind of having like a goal there and then checking in with yourself after some time and seeing
at a
where you're
minimum
at
you
with
need an
things.
end goal.
Yes.
I think at a minimum you need an end goal because if you're what are you chasing then? If you
True.
don't have an end goal, what are you chasing?
Exactly. I think that's really good. All right, so for the final question, do you have any advice for fellow TFOLs?
Okay. This is advice I think I'd give anyone. I think this is going to be my new thing. And especially for teenagers, because it's hard with teenagers, because a lot of them, like, you make stupid decisions. Now, and I'm surrounded by them all day. So, like, I get it. I get the incentive to make stupid decisions. I tend to stay incredibly focused, but not everyone's as focused. But here's what I'll say. As you grow up and get into the world, there are 2 things you need to do, really. One is when you're going into a job, no matter what it is, you are going to show up. Say you get a job working at McDonald's, right? You work as a clerk, whatever. Show up an hour early. Don't clock in. Be there to help. Leave an hour late. You want to move up in the world? People out there want to see you succeed. People out there want to help you. And if people see that initiative, I guarantee you, if you do that in your first 2-3 weeks of working at a McDonald's, you're getting promoted. You're going to get promoted to manager by the end of that, maybe the end of the next month. You want to get promoted, and then eventually, and you maybe set your goal, I want to be CEO of this company. You can do that. No matter what you do, take that attitude and apply it to the rest of your life. I think there's an incredible book that I'd recommend everyone read. It's called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. It is a great analysis of how to productively use your time, how to decide your values, how to do everything along those lines. Strongly recommend it. I'd say, I can't quantify all I want to say, obviously, in one quote. Read that book. That would be it. I tell everyone to read that book. It's a fantastic book by Stephen Covey. Stefan Covey, I think that's it. And it's a really awesome book, and I think do what gives you purpose, and what gives you like a sense of belonging and contribution to society. Because I think you need to have that in order to go on in life. And I'm very blessed. I've been able to pursue my purpose and what I believe is helping contribute to the world, and it helps me go in terms of what I want to do in my life, and you want to help others and do the right thing. So that was a very long-winded answer, but yeah, definitely read the book. But if you take away nothing else from this podcast, it's read that book. It will change your life if you take it into account.
All right, I think that's really fantastic advice. I love that. Thank you so much for coming on the show, Logan. It was awesome having you. And before we end this episode, do you have any social media or other things like that you'd like to plug?
I'm going to take away the plug. I mean, you guys can just look up my name everywhere, and it'll be there. I want to give it to Doodlebricks. He did a great job with this. So go follow him on Instagram if you're listening to this on YouTube. And if you're listening to this on Instagram, please tell me how, because I don't know how you listen to podcasts on Instagram. So I would like to find out this uncovered knowledge. But yeah, definitely follow him. If you're watching this and you've made it this far and you're not subscribed, what are you honestly doing? Do it. Come on.
Thank you, man. I seriously appreciate that. But yeah, go follow RepublicStuds on all the platforms. And yeah. All right. Well, thank you all so much for watching. It means the world, and I hope you enjoyed. Links to the things and people we talked about will be in the description as always. New episodes now released once every 2 weeks on Tuesdays for TFOL Talk Tuesday, and you can find updates, announcements, and more regarding the podcast over on my Twitter or Instagram, both of which are @Doodlebricks. Anyways, that's all for now, and we'll see you all later.